Students, my name is Mr. Almaris. If, in case you forgot, it's been a couple weeks since we've been able to be together, and I'm doing things a little bit different today. I'm going to lecture to you on Chapter 15. I'm going to give you a quick crash course on nutrition, digestion, and excretion. So I'm going to ask that if you guys have your books to take those out and to open them up to page 522. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the book and a PowerPoint and try to give you kind of a quick run through on Chapter 15 stuff, since we're not able to be together, and I don't want to just give you work and have you figure everything out. I want to give you an opportunity to listen to one of my riveting discussions on what we're covering right now. So let me start by saying, with nutrition, digestion, and excretion, in this lecture, you're in for a treat. That's a joke, because we're going to be talking about urine, and I'm saying urine. It's just a good old science joke here. So anyway, here's what we got: nutrition, digestion, and excretion. Basically eating food, breaking it down, and getting rid of it. Now, of course, this person is just a random picture from the internet. You may know this person as my daughter, who just had her first birthday on Friday. So she's all hamming it up there over some cake. In both of these cases, we are putting something into our body and breaking it down and then getting rid of the waste products. So hopefully you're open to page 522. I'm going to begin by reading to you the first paragraph. It says, "Why do you eat? How do you decide what to eat or when to eat? Although you can survive for weeks without food, you might become hungry within hours of your last meal. Hunger is your body's way of telling you that it needs food. Why does your body need food? Food provides your body with the energy and nutrients it needs to survive." So I'm going to pull out my trusty old highlighter here, and it says, "Your body needs nutrients found in foods." That's not a good highlight, but you get the idea. Why? Because nutrients provide energy and also materials for cell development. The big thing, though, is that energy. We eat to get energy. When you guys eat food, you may be aware that there are food labels on your food, most of your foods. And that gives you a value called calories. It talks about calories on page 523. It's highlighted in your book. Ultimately, calories are telling you how much energy there is in food. Depending on your lifestyle, we each need a different amount of calories. Many of you guys, as young students, as seventh graders, are very active. You should be taking in a lot of calories because you need a lot of energy. Not only do you need energy to get through your day, but you guys are growing right now. So you need energy for your body to grow. So calories are giving you that idea of how much energy there is in food. Here you can see a whole lot of food, all kinds of good food in this picture. You can see eggs and cheese and carrots and celery and broccoli and bread and ham and meat and other things like that. In all of the food that we take in, there are different nutrients. On page 523, it talks about nutrients, and then as you flip the page to 524, it says there are groups of nutrients. How many groups of nutrients are there? There are 6. 6 groups of nutrients, and we're going to go through each group and kind of take a crash course on each of those. So the first heading under groups of nutrients is proteins. Proteins are very important for our body because they repair our body cells. We've talked in the past about when you guys are active, whether you're running around, whether you're practicing, whether you're lifting weights, or whether you're doing big workouts, your body is ultimately breaking down those cells as you are active. So proteins are there to repair those cells. You maybe have heard your parents say, "Make sure you eat all your meat so you can grow big and strong." Well, there's some truth to that. Meat is there to help repair body cells and help those cells grow. That's one of the important things about protein. Where can protein be found? It can be found in eggs, milk, cheese, and meat, and you see a picture of that down here. Sometimes you maybe have seen or heard of people having a protein shake after a workout. Again, why are they doing that? To repair the body cells and help those muscle cells grow. so that they're bigger the next time around. Another important nutrient is carbohydrates, oftentimes called carbs. Here you can see that I've highlighted. This is the main source of energy for your body. And again, something we've talked about. You maybe have heard of people carb loading before a big event. They're taking in a bunch of carbohydrates because they know that those carbohydrates are going to give them energy. What are the carbohydrates that they're taking in when they're carb loading? Generally, it's things like pasta and bread. They're having maybe spaghetti, or they're maybe having lasagna, and there's different breads there. The idea behind that is that they're taking in foods that your body will break down and give you energy from. Some of those foods are a little bit what we might call heavier or complex. They are complex carbohydrates or starches, and that's found in potatoes and pastas and breads. These take a little bit longer for your body to break down. So if you have it tonight, tomorrow the idea is that your body's going to have that energy readily available for whatever the event is. The simpler carbohydrates are found in things like fruits, like oranges and apples and watermelon and things, strawberries, things of that nature, where when you take that in, maybe within a shorter period of time, your body's going to break that down and get energy from that. So carbohydrates, their main job is energy. Going back, proteins, their main job is growth and repair. Now, we go on to the third, which is fats, also called lipids. These also provide energy. Wait a second, Mr. A, you said carbohydrates provide energy. Yes, I did, but so do fats. Fats sometimes get this negative connotation in the sense that sometimes those fats, people think don't eat fat because it's bad, and that's not necessarily true. Fats can be a very good thing for your body to take in because, again, as it says there, they do provide you with energy. Now, the bad part about fat is that it's really good storage. So if you don't take that, if you don't use that fat up, if you don't burn it off after you've taken it in, it will store in your body as it says here, fat. So the important thing is if you're active, fats are not a bad thing to be taking in. Another note with fats is that there's two kinds of fats. There's unsaturated fats. These are, I'm either going to write good or bad. Think about what I'm going to write for that. Either good or bad for unsaturated. And saturated fats. Well, unsaturated fats are very good for you. These are going to be things like, these are going to be found in things like fish and peanuts. Almonds have a lot of these unsaturated fats, and they are good for your body. Your body can break those down and get energy from them very quick. Saturated fats are the bad kinds of fat. Now, again, if you're active, I'm not saying that this is a terrible thing to have, but you don't want to have these a lot. That would be in a lot of your fried foods. Chicken strips and chicken nuggets and potato chips, things like that are going to be high in your saturated fat. So when you're checking your food labels, if it has a lot of unsaturated fat, it's okay. If it has saturated fat, not really that good. Next group, vitamins. Vitamins are excellent sources for growth, as well as proteins, regulating body functions and preventing disease. On page 525, if you're continuing along in the book, you can see that there's a list of some of the vitamins. Vitamin B2, which is also called riboflavin, vitamin C, vitamin A, and there's other vitamins that you guys maybe have heard about, vitamin D, vitamin E. There's all kinds of vitamin Bs, vitamin K. And it talks about those vitamins within that little heading there, the blue heading where it says vitamins. I encourage you to read that. These are many times found in your fruits and vegetables. For instance, oranges are a great source of vitamin C. They help to prevent disease, which is obviously a very good thing. Minerals are oftentimes talked about when it comes to vitamins. Vitamins and minerals are put together. Oftentimes, they aren't necessarily the same thing, Minerals are inorganic, meaning they don't contain carbon, and there's a list of those on that same table on page 525. You can see calcium, iron, zinc. You maybe have heard of some other ones like phosphorus and potassium, but these are very important because they help your body regulate chemical reactions, as you can see right here. Many times these as well are found in your vegetables or in your fruits as well, and in really any of the food groups you can see a lot of your minerals there. The sixth of our nutrient groups, so I'm gonna highlight this because we've got a 6 here. Our sixth and final nutrient group is water, and water you can see is talked about on page 526 of your book. Water is required for survival. Your cells need water to carry out their work. I just read something not too long ago that said, you have to excuse my alerts that are coming up there. If you are an active individual, the challenge for water consumption for you is to drink your body weight in water throughout a day. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you're supposed to drink 100 ounces of water. That's quite a heavy task, but if you carry around water with you throughout the day, that will be something that I think you could easily do. Your body is composed of a large amount of water, and just as you go about your daily business, you're constantly losing water. Even if you're not active, just sitting here listening to me talk about this topic in a riveting fashion, just as you sit there and exhale, you're losing water. Certainly if you're active, you sweat it out, and when you urinate, you're getting rid of water as well. You know what that reminds me I should do right now? Take a drink of water. That's good stuff there. So drink your body weight in water. It's a tough challenge. Okay, some of you maybe heard of the My Plate. Because we need to take in 6 different groups of nutrients, and there's no one food that has all of them, there's different helpful ideas out there of what we should consume. Here you can see My Plate saying you should have a well-balanced diet of fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairies. Again, the idea is that there's no food that's perfect. So we want to make sure we take in a wide variety of food so we can hit every nutrient group up. Again, there's 6 nutrient groups. We went through those: the proteins, carbs, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. A balanced diet encourages or helps us to get all 6 of those in. Here you can see a couple other models on what we should be taking in. So that's kind of a crash course on what we should be eating in the different nutrient groups. The next thing that we're going to get into is the digestive system. So you can go ahead and turn your books to actually page 530 is where it starts, where we're going to look at digestion. I'll let you get situated there, and just want to check in and see, are you guys doing okay? I hope you're doing okay. This is the first time I've done this. Truth be told, I actually did it already this morning, but I wasn't recording. So here we are a second time. Hopefully this one's better than the first. I'm going to have sip a cup of Joe here. And here we go, digestion. So digestion, what I want you to know about digestion is there's some very important parts that help us break down the food that we put into our body. And it starts right here in the mouth. So in the mouth, if you remember dissecting the frog a while ago, they had teeth. Well, we have teeth, we have a tongue, and ultimately within our mouth, we are starting what's called mechanical digestion. We're chewing, we're grinding, we're tearing and ripping food apart. A lot of mechanical digestion is taking place within the mouth. There is some chemical digestion in the mouth with what's called the salivary gland is releasing saliva, and saliva will help to break down food. Once food has left our mouth, it goes down the esophagus and into the stomach. Once in the stomach, your food is being, again, a little bit of mechanical digestion. It's being churned and grind and things like that. But ultimately, we're going through, at this point, what's called chemical digestion. A lot of chemical digestion within the stomach, where it's breaking down that food. Within the stomach, there are enzymes that help to speed up that breakdown of the food. So again, food in the mouth, mechanically digested with a little bit of chemical digestion because of saliva, down the esophagus into the stomach. Stomach's going to really start to chemically break down that food so that it's ready to enter into the small intestine. After the small intestine, we know it goes into the large intestine and then out the body. Let's recap what's going on with the next part. We're going to skip that slide. The small intestine and large intestine. When food gets into the small intestine, we have a whole bunch of these little hair-like structures called villi. Villi are helping to absorb all of the nutrients out of the food. The food that has entered your intestine is in something, it's a watery liquid called chyme. So after your food has been broken down by the mouth and the stomach, it has turned into what's called chyme, and chyme is a watery fluid that's flowing through your small intestine. It's being pushed along through a series of muscle contractions called peristalsis. Food in your mouth, broken down mechanically, a little bit of chemical. Into the stomach, broken down chemically with a little bit of mechanical. It leaves as chyme and is pushed through the intestine through a process called peristalsis. In your intestine, we have these little hairs called villi. Now, your intestine are very important for absorption. So the villi are these little hairs that help to pull out nutrients. Look at what I got here. Everybody knows hopefully what this is. This isn't a tough question. This is a towel. All right. On your towel, there are a whole bunch of little hairs, right? They're not actually hairs, but they're little pieces of thread. Why are these on a towel? Well, they're there to help pull off the water when we get done maybe taking a shower or swimming, in a pool or a lake or river, whatever the case is. These hairs help to absorb a bunch of water. The opposite of this is a pillowcase, same material that your sheets would be made out of. This doesn't have those hairs on there. Why? Because we're not worried about absorbing anything off of your body when you're sleeping. This is just something that's there to help you be comfortable. This would be terrible for getting water off your body. This is great. Why? Because this has the hairs on it. So this is like your small intestine. This is not. Hopefully that helps you to understand what villi are all about. Villi are these little hairs that help to absorb nutrients. Now in the large intestine, we're still doing some absorption, but we're now mainly focusing on absorbing water. We're getting all the water out so that when the food continues on down, it is now going to be solid or solid waste or feces. And that kind of takes you through a run-through of how your food goes through your digestive system. This here is a cool picture of it's enlarged picture of your intestine where you can see those little hairs. What are they called? They are called, once again, villi. Little hairs that help with absorption. A lot of times people think when food gets into your intestine, we're helping to digest it. No, we are absorbing that food there. So, one more recap. Food goes in your mouth, to your stomach. In these two parts, we're digesting it and breaking it down. It'll turn into chyme. It'll go through the small and large intestine. Villi are little hairs that are helping pull as many nutrients and water out of that food. Peristalsis keeps pushing that food until it eventually reaches the end of the line. One note I want to make, you guys will have an assignment on page 552. You're going to be doing 1 through 11. That's listed on Schoology. But for number 4, instead of answering number 4, I want you to state what A through D are and the function of each. So for example, if you look on page 552, letter A is pointing to something. What do you think A is pointing to? If you look on page 552, A is pointing to the esophagus. So you would put for number 4, you're going to put A, esophagus. Then you're going to tell me what the esophagus does. So you're going to put A, esophagus, and what it does. Then you're going to look at B, tell me what B is and what it does. Do the same thing for C and the same thing for D. So just be aware of that on page 552. You're going to do a little bit, you're going to answer number 4 a little different than the other ones, and that's how I'd like you to do that. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that helped you with section 2, which is digestion. Section 3, I'm going to be short and sweet with you because I know I'm already passing the 20-minute mark and I don't want to take up a ton of your time with this discussion. But with section 3, we are getting into the excretion, and this is where I say you're in for a treat. Good old joke there. Where we are going to be producing urine. How does that happen? Well, take a look at page 543 through 545. On 543, you can see a picture that looks similar to this, where you have somebody drinking water and you can see their kidneys, ureter, bladder, and urethra. Your body has renal blood vessels, renal veins, and renal arteries, where ultimately it's bringing blood to the kidney. All of our blood goes to the kidney, and in the kidney, we have these little nephrons which clean out the blood, get rid of anything that should not be in the blood. Then it takes that clean blood and brings it back to the heart. So we have an artery that brings blood to the kidney and a vein that brings it away. In the kidney, we clean out any of the blood. All the stuff that should not be in our blood continues down through a ureter. These long little tubes here are called ureters, and enters into the bladder. This is basically the liquid waste within our blood. So blood goes to the kidney, nephrons filter it out, good blood goes back, anything that shouldn't be in the blood goes down the ureter into the bladder. The bladder is like a balloon. It will start to fill up. Once it fills to a point where we need to go to the bathroom, it tells our brain time to go to the bathroom, and that urine is exited out of our body through what's called a urethra. So you can see that on page 543. You can see the first 3 terms on 543. You can see kidney, you can see nephrons, and you can see urine. Again, on page 543, turn the page to 544 and 545. On 545, you can see ureter, bladder, and urethra. Take a look at that, read that, and get a better understanding of that. Now, there's all kinds of diseases and things that can go wrong with both digestion and excretion. In digestion, you maybe have heard of things like anorexia or bulimia. You maybe have heard of heartburn. And there's different things that can happen with our digestive system. Same thing with our excretory system. You maybe know someone who's had kidney stones or urinary tract infection. It talks about some of those disorders on page 546. We're going to hang on and wait to talk about those until next week. But just be aware that there are certainly some issues that can come up with any of these systems. So I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys have an assignment, and again, this is posted on Schoology. Your assignment, which is due on Wednesday at 11:59, is to comment on this video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. What you're going to do is, first of all, tell me how have you liked how the e-learning has gone last week and into this week. So we're about a little over a week into this e-learning experience. Give me a 1 to 10 ranking. 10 is it's awesome, 1 is it's horrible, and then a brief explanation on that. Number 2, what did you think about this video? I think we're going to have to do some videos throughout this time away. Hopefully we're not away from each other for a whole lot longer. But let me know what you think about this video. Was it really good? Was it bad? What kind of things did you like? What did you not like? Just to make sure that I'm giving you guys something that hopefully is helpful and that you enjoy. So same rating system, 10 is awesome, 1 is horrible, and a brief explanation. And then 3 things that you learned from this video about nutrition, digestion, and excretion. I'd like you to list that for me as well. You can comment right on the link that I give you for this video. So please make sure you do that by Wednesday. Whew, that's the second time I've done this. Hopefully this time it works. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to work on getting this posted right now. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for listening. I'm signing off here.